Namaste and welcome. When it comes down to it, there are basically two ways to see ourselves. The first, and most common, is that we are made of matter, that I am material or chemical in essence. The second, which Jagad Guru puts forward in this talk, is that we are something much more, that we are actually spiritual in essence.
You are not the material body. You are not matter in essence. You are the life particle, the spirit, or whatever word we want to give it, who is temporarily in a material body. You are not matter, but you are now in a material form. This is the conclusion that we've put forward. This is a view which is completely opposed to the popular matter-only or materialistic view of reality, which holds that you are chemical in essence, or you are non-existent, you're an illusion created by this chemical machine. When we put forward this view that you're not the body, that you are the life particle, we are saying, in other words, that there is another energy other than matter. There's a different energy. There's two fundamental elements than matter and life. Life is a fundamental element. Matter is a fundamental element. So you have two fundamental elements, and they're interacting in a living organism. A living organism is a combination, then, of a life particle connected with or wedded to a material form. Now, whenever we put forward this view that you are a life particle, a spark of life, and you're temporarily in a material body, or that there's two energies, life and matter, then logically the question is asked, how do we know that this so-called second energy, life, exists? After all, we can't see it with our material eye. It's not like I can get a bowl of life force and look at it or see it under a microscope. See? I cannot directly perceive this thing that we're calling life force, or the spirit soul, or the Atma, or the life particle within the body. I can't see this person, this non-material self, directly with my senses. So how do I know it exists? This is a question which has been raised. And we must point, in reply to this question, we must point to the fact that a person does not need to see something directly with their senses in order to know that it exists. We talked about this a little bit before. Scientists accept the existence of the atom and many other things, even though they don't directly perceive these things. They see the effects that the atom, or whatever, a squiggle bond or whatever it is, has on what they can perceive. The influence of that non-perceivable thing, the influence that it has on that which they can perceive. Therefore, they observe that, and they know then that non-perceivable thing exists. We talked about electricity. It's like that also. If we turn all the lights off out here, or if you at home, if your television goes off and all your lights go off, then you know that, the electricity's gone. You don't see the electricity directly, but you see its influence. Right? Mm-hmm. So you see the influence that it has, something you can't see directly. You see its influence upon something that you can see directly, and therefore you know that there is such a thing as electricity. There is such a thing as an atom, and so on. So we're saying the same thing applies, the same rule applies to the element life. Although you can't see the living being, the spark of life, the life particle, you can't see that within the material body. Although you can't directly see this life force, you can perceive the influence that it's having upon matter when it is present. When it's present, there's specific characteristics that matter has, and when it's not, when the life particle is not present, then matter, the behavior of matter is completely different. So the behavior of matter in the presence of life is completely different than it is when there's no life particle present. To put it another way, when there's a life particle or a living being or a spark of life within the material body, the body behaves in one way, and then when this life particle is gone, the matter that you can see behaves in a completely different way. Now, from time immemorial, people have sort of recognized what these things are. They didn't maybe analyze it as much in depth as we're going to be doing tonight. But they could observe, if, a guy's walking down the street and he's walking and talking and he's eating and, goes to the bathroom and he's breathing and, runs away when somebody attacks him and so on and so forth, then they know that guy's alive. Okay? And when he stops doing these things, then the guy's dead. They know that one of the things is when the guy dies or when there's no one there anymore, the body starts rotting, you see. Now what we're going to do is go over some of the main distinctions that scientists have come to understand, come to know, come to appreciate the difference, the way that matter behaves when it's in the presence of life, and the way it behaves in a completely different way when it's not in the presence of life. Okay? So there are great distinctions here between the way matter behaves in the presence of the life particle and the way it behaves when the life particle, the life force, is no longer present. The first distinction is that matter that's influenced by the element life is characterized by metabolism, whereas matter that's by itself is not. Matter by itself has no metabolism. There's no metabolism in matter by itself. Metabolism means you're taking in material energy from the environment, taking it to the body, and it undergoes this change, a very drastic change, and then is assimilated by the body. What the body can't use, it expels as waste. Okay, this is basically what metabolism is. Okay, now this exchange of matter, we talked about it before in connection with how the body's always changing. The molecules of the body are always changing. The body you have today isn't the body you had before. Okay, this is what we're referring to by metabolism. So metabolism, there's eating and breathing and then expelling of waste. And this is going on.
Thanks for watching. I'm glad you could join us for this talk shared with us by the Science of Identity Foundation. Please press subscribe to receive notifications of future live events. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.